welcome. My name is Sam Davidson. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Batch, and with me today is John Spalding. He is the man, the myth, the legend, the Brittle doctor. I don't know if you have your PhD in Brittle, but he is the man behind Brittle Brothers. John, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Sam, thanks so much for having me. I don't know that there's a myth involved here, but I'll take it. Anybody wants to say I'm a myth or a legend, I'm in with you. But yeah, Brittle Brothers, Nashville, Tennessee.
That's awesome. And you know, like as we're talking, I'm going to be eating some of this stuff, digging into it. So I'm opening here the cashew brittle. I know you guys have peanut, you have pecan, you have bacon, and you've got a Nashville hot. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Tell me about these flavors. How did these come to be, and how the heck do you make brittle, man?
Well, it all started, I come from a family that was a peanut brittle family. It was a tradition in my family. My grandmother did it. My great-grandmother did it. And it just got passed on down. One summer in 1985, I called my mom and said, I could really use some brittle today. And she said, it's 97 degrees out. I'm not eating brittle. We do that at Christmas time. And I said, well, send me the recipe. I'll play with that. So she sent me the recipe. I started making peanut brittle. It became my family tradition for my kids, my wife. And then all of a sudden, you got those people coming. Oh, you could sell that. Oh, you could sell it. Oh, that's a bit. And, you've heard that. People have heard that. You just take it with a grain of salt. But it just kept coming and coming and coming. And I said, what the heck? Let's try it. So I got some tiny little brown paper bags, and I put my brittle in there, and I had a little sticker on the bag that said, if you want more, just call this number and we'll take care of you. So we did that. We got some local, mom and pop little grocery stores and little markets. And then our big break really was probably, I want to say 88. No, let me rephrase that. 88, 98. And we got a call from a guy, and he says, my name's Gary Riccardi, the food and beverage director of the Opryland Hotel. We would like for you to become part of our family. And so then that started going, and then the rest is kind of history on how we evolved from there. But that's how it all began.
Well, and one thing, I think the product speaks for itself, and that's true for a lot of our makers. Folks, I think who have tried your product understand that. Look, if I'm in on the cashew, if I'm doing the peanut, the pecan, you don't have to poke around and search to find one of these hearty morsels here. The ingredients are there. It's on the box. How do you make something so great with so few ingredients?
Well, the key there was when it comes to peanut brittle, the most expensive ingredient in peanut brittle is the peanut. The cheapest ingredient is that corn syrup and sugar. And so what big corporations are famous for is they're going to start pulling as many of those peanuts out, maximize their profit as they can get away with. So what you're left with is you'll find some of the brittle. Oh, hey, look, I found a peanut in the corner over
right.
here.
Yeah.
It defeats the purpose for me. It's called peanut brittle for a reason. So I said, I'm just going to keep putting peanuts in there and peanuts in there and peanuts in there, because it was never designed to sell. It was designed for me to consume. So I didn't care how many peanuts I put in. I didn't care what it cost, because it was great. So I kept doing that, and that's what really separates us from everybody else that you're going to find out there is you're biting into nuts, you're biting into a pecan, you're biting into a cashew, not into that hard candy that's going to break your teeth.
Well, and clearly that focus on quality, on value, let's say, on making sure the customer is getting a lot of value, has seen you through a lot. And so you mentioned the origins of this thing. So you've continued to run this company through the early part of the 2000s when we had an economic hit, through obviously everything we saw with the Great Recession, as it came to be called, and now here in the pandemic. So how are you guys doing? Where were you, let's say, back in March, and where are you now as we're headed into the fourth quarter?
Yeah, like every other customer and every other business in the United States right now, these are trying times. I've never seen anything like it. You've never seen anything like it. So we came out of, last year coming into 2020, and we had some great momentum coming in. And so we get into that January, February, March, we're like, oh man, this is going to be the best year ever. And then all of a sudden the coronavirus hits. And as you can imagine, a Nashville company relies a lot on tourists. Well, the airports are gone, the hotels are gone, Country Music Hall of Fame's gone, Opryland's gone, the tourists are gone.
Mm.
and we just were dead in the water. I mean, it was just a screeching halt for the Brittle Brothers. And so we had a meeting. We said, what are we going to do here, guys? We can't bring in tourists. And then we kind of brainstormed a little bit and said, well, wait a minute. We've never done well on our webpage. We've never done well. Amazon's done well for us, but the other e-commerce venues, we just really aren't familiar. We aren't comfortable. Well, we had to adapt. In order to survive, we had to adapt. So we went into these vehicles and we hired a young college kid, a social media guy, and said, go do flash sales, go do sales, run our webpage for us. And then we got into these venues on e-commerce where now you can do it from your home. Yep. And all of a sudden, all of these venues were profitable, probably more profitable than the tourist business in Nashville was. And so it just started growing and growing and growing. And now you take that, you take the tourists when they do come back, you've already mastered the tourist business. So when those people all come back and you've got the e-commerce and you've got the web page, it's a pretty rosy perspective on where we can be, coming into 2021. So it caused us to adapt. And for that, we will be forever thankful because we're into new venues that we've never imagined.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one thing I hear when I speak to small businesses all over, really, but especially those that we've been working with, like yourself, is there seems to be this resilience. So yeah, look, what is going on now was completely unexpected at the beginning of this year, but hey, we're in it. We're in the middle of it. And so clearly you guys have come together as a team along with those folks who support you and who are able to still resell your products and still get it in the hands of their customers. So last question I got for you, obviously, if you could predict the future, you might not be in the brittle business, but where do you hope, where do you think things will be? Where are you going next now that you've had some success? What's the next step for you, be it for the holiday season or on into 2021 or even beyond that? What is next for Brittle Brothers?
Again, I'll touch on that we're very excited about the fact that we've gotten so much more open to other venues. So as we head forward into 2021, tourists hopefully, will be coming. I would love to see them by the holiday season. Don't know if that's possible. But, if it isn't, next year, then at the beginning of the year, as those tourists come back and our e-commerce business, continues to grow, hopefully we'll continue to grow. The other part of that is we hope that other companies just like ours will recognize to go ahead and say, wait a minute, don't give up the ship. Look for other venues there where you can pull this off and make money and bring in revenue because it is available there. And again, if I hadn't had this pandemic, we never would have gone there. We'd still be sitting on strictly the tourist business. As far as this holiday, we're going to launch a brand new flavor. We're going to launch a chocolate covered peanut brittle. We're going to work a little bit with the local chocolate company and we'll just see where that goes for us. The test results from everybody that's tried it is very favorable. So we'll hopefully get a new flavor out here for the holidays.
Hey, that's fantastic. I love hearing stories like this, that even in a pandemic when things are difficult, small businesses, folks like yourself, keep on keeping on. Rely on the power of the community and see what's next. John, thank you for joining us. We appreciate the time, the stories, and of course, the fantastic product from Brittle Brothers. We appreciate it.
Thank you so very much. Appreciate it, Sam. All the best to Nashville and the world.